The Syntax of Things by Arisa. Chapter 18. Wisdom, Professionalism. For a couple of days, Potter shut his mouth stubbornly. He took his meals to his room, avoided Severus, and as soon as the Occlumency practice was over, he'd run upstairs and leave him the hell alone. The few times Severus had attempted to interact with him at all, he was met with short responses flattened to the point. Finally, the boy was learning. Severus was calm again, enjoying the silence. But the silence could be enjoyed only during daytime hours. Potter's nightmares had returned and were crueler than ever, harsh and ongoing, persisting until the boy would either wake up screaming or pass out. The second night, Severus crept into his room to wake him. The whining was getting too much, too loud. He thought it might be a vision. When Potter woke up, his face hidden by the obscure shadows of the night, there was nothing familiar in his eyes for Severus to read.
"Bad one."
Severus wasn't familiar with comforting people.
"Go away. Get out,"
Potter had mumbled. He pushed Severus's hand away from his chest and shifted backwards. Severus slammed the door behind him after threatening to kick him out should this continue. Once again, Potter was acting out his shenanigans, hoping to attract attention. He'd get none of it. If he didn't want to talk, they'd play this his way. No talking it was. Until the third day, on which Potter talked.
"So where is that place that you visited the other day, I mean?"
"The bar."
"No, the
The tension between them was heavy again. The warmth that had settled into the house had now vanished, leaving behind an impossibly cold emptiness.
Interested."
Severus placed the plate with the bread slices on the table and took the juice out of the fridge.
"Maybe."
Severus had to hand it to him. He was at least trying, although he couldn't tell if Potter was doing it to annoy him or to fix things. There was certainly nothing to be fixed.
"You're underage."
Potter tore a strip off his paper napkin and shredded it into smaller pieces slowly.
"Oh.
Damn it all, Hogwarts should start already." He sat down and took a large bite of his steak.
"You lied to me, didn't you? You didn't really go to such a place."
And here he thought that the boy would buy anything he gave him.
"Have I given you the impression that you are allowed to continue discussing this? Who do you think you are, Snape?"
He was a man who couldn't care less about this very moment. Not spending Potter's birthday with him was the wisest decision he could have made. He'd taken a really long walk, almost caught a cold, and when he ended up at the pub that destroyed his father's life, he decided to give it a try too. The damp air and the long alleys had helped him calm down, nevertheless. He'd almost forgotten that the boy existed when he came back home to be reminded by having him scream at his face.
"You do realize that you sound like a housewife that has been cheated on, no?"
Potter bit his lip, holding back his anger. No, not anger. Embarrassment.
"I was worried."
"Why would you?"
A deep breath.
No answer. "Well, you shouldn't."
"You don't get it, do you?"
Potter snapped. He glared at him hard, his eyes glimmering dangerously.
"I don't want you to die on me."
Die? On him! He was aware of the fork being tightly squeezed inside his fist. He blinked and firmly cut another bite. A sigh was heard from nearby, but Severus didn't bother looking up. Die on him. He never had anyone to die on.
"Have you finished your assignments?"
And despite everything, Potter snorted.
"Everything but potions. Are you going to help me?"
Help him? It would be highly unprofessional to help a student with an assignment he himself had assigned.
"Very well, after Occlumency."
Severus blotted his hair with a towel and tossed it on a chair and shook his head. The water was perfect. He liked his showers burning hot, the rushing water hitting his skin aggressively, and the thick steam encompassing him completely. It was a decent way to drain off thoughts and worries, even if for a little bit.
Potter knocked. "Wait there."
He pulled on his nightgown and blotted his hair once more. He opened. Potter was in his pajamas too. He held up a notebook.
"My assignment?"
"Right. Wait, now." "It's late. We'll work on it tomorrow."
"I'm not really tired yet, are you?"
"Tomorrow, Potter."
"I only have a couple of questions, really."
"Bugger."
"Come in."
Potter walked in and sat on the bed. "I did not say you could sit," he was ready to hiss, but chose against it. Sighing, he sat against the headboard too.
Have you prepared an outline? He asked. Potter handed him the notebook. Kind of. Some parts confused me.
Severus read the first page in silence.
Some of these excerpts are copied directly from the book, and your handwriting is getting worse. It's a draft. I'll rewrite it on a papyrus scroll. If the book has it right, why is copying it bad?
Because it highlights your laziness and encourages your cheating tendencies.
Potions requires creativity, among other things. Potter snorted. Creativity in potions? I might blow something up. And that will make you learn. Now what? Rewrite it. You didn't read all of it. Rewrite it.
Fuming, Potter sighed, and much to Severus's surprise, he took out his pen and snatched back his notebook. He was going to do it now!
Just wait a minute. A few corrections here and there, and it'll look right.
Severus wanted to tell him that correcting a copied text was not going to make it right. Then he decided to let him do it, and faced the large red TROLL written across it when back to Hogwarts. He waited. And he waited some more, until his back tingled and he made himself a little more comfortable. Then a little more. It seemed to take ages for Potter to finish up, and the sound of his pen scratching against the paper was rhythmical and soft. There was a star drifting above him, or perhaps it was just a Loomis, while the smell of the herb garden attacked him. Like fresh flowers dipped in water in a nice china, perhaps on a sunny day, a china placed on a wide white window somewhere, for someone. His eyes flickered open some time later, but Potter had fallen asleep too, pen in hand, and Severus shut his eyes again, sleep taking him in so quietly that it was like an elephant had been resting on top of his chest, and now it slowly sat up and was finally padding away.